Fraud? The unfair criticism of Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold has been one of the most polarizing quarterbacks in the NFL. Drafted third overall in 2018, he entered the league with very high expectations, but after struggling with the New York Jets and Carolina Panthers, many quickly labeled him a bust. Critics were relentless, pointing to his inconsistency and turnovers, while others believed the real issue was the dysfunctional teams around him. But now, with a fresh start in Minnesota, Darnold is showing signs of the talent that once made him a top draft pick. So, was Darnold truly a fraud, or was he simply a victim of unfortunate circumstances? And how has his new situation with the Vikings changed his trajectory? Well, stick around to find out. When Sam Darnold joined the NFL, everyone who knew him had very high expectations thanks to his standout college career at USC. As a starter there, he guided them to a 21-6 record, highlighted by a thrilling victory over Penn State in the 2017 Rose Bowl that cemented his status as a clutch player. He was a great playmaker at the college level because of his ability to make off-schedule throws, quick releases, and composure under stress.
There's Darnold spinning out of it, and then downfield he goes, and staying with it that time was a matter.
With 7,229 passing yards, 57 touchdowns, and 22 interceptions at the end of his college career, he demonstrated his high level of skills in the game. These numbers, along with his poise, arm strength, and athleticism, made him an elite prospect entering the NFL. No wonder, later on, he was selected as the third overall pick by the New York Jets in the 2018 NFL Draft. The Jets' decision to draft him indicated that they viewed him as a possible rescuer, someone who could turn around their bad luck and establish himself as their long-term quarterback. But there was also a lot of pressure that came with being a top draft pick. Ever since Joe Namath's tenure, the Jets had been in dire need of a dependable quarterback, and Darnold was viewed as their best chance. And as we all know, athletes have a notoriously tough time succeeding in New York, especially in football, where there can be harsh expectations from fans and the media. Even worse, due to the Jets' ongoing troubles, he was under even more pressure to perform right away. The expectations were further heightened because Darnold's draft class was seen as one of the best quarterback classes in recent years. With Baker Mayfield going first overall to the Cleveland Browns and Josh Allen landing with the Buffalo Bills, the comparisons between Darnold and his draft peers began immediately. Was he going to become the long-term solution for the Jets? Well, before we get into that, if you're enjoying this video, please hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell as we continue with his struggles with the Jets. Now let me tell you, Sam Darnold's years with the New York Jets from 2018 to 2020 were a period marked by frustration, inconsistency, and a series of unfortunate circumstances that contributed heavily to his struggles. His time with the team turned out to be turbulent, with issues ranging from coaching instability to a lack of talent around him, making it almost impossible for him to succeed. In his first year, he worked under head coach Todd Bowles, who was fired at the end of the 2018 season after a 4-12 record. The Jets then hired Adam Gase in 2019, a decision that was met with skepticism from the start. Questions about Gase's ability to groom young quarterbacks had previously surfaced during his time in Miami, and similar doubts soon materialized in New York. His offensive strategies were frequently criticized for being out of date and unduly complicated, which gave Darnold little chance of winning. In fact, a lot of observers contended that Darnold's skills as a quarterback, especially his capacity for improvisation and making plays on the fly, were underutilized by Gase's inflexible scheme. In addition to his problems in New York, he also suffered from ailments and injuries, including mononucleosis, which kept him out of action for a large part of the 2019 season. Because he was never able to properly find his rhythm or maintain any kind of long-term consistency, this further disturbed his development. When he did play, though, he frequently displayed glimpses of his talent, leading late-game drives or making spectacular throws. However, those instances were few and far between, overshadowed by the team's general instability. The criticism increased along with the number of losses. New York fans and media were harsh, calling Darnold a bust right away. Every interception and misdirected pass was analyzed, and the story that Darnold wasn't performing up to par began to spread. The fact that other quarterbacks in his draft class, like Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, were performing better in their particular circumstances did not assist. It was evident by the conclusion of the 2020 campaign that Darnold's tenure with the Jets was drawing to an end. After finishing with a miserable 2-14 record, the front office made the decision to move on, choosing to choose Zach Wilson in the 2021 NFL Draft.
With the second pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Zach Wilson, quarterback, BYU.
They then traded Darnold to the Carolina Panthers, and people were quick to react.
Who got the better of the deal?
Me personally, I think it's the Carolina Panthers. They've got a 23-year-old quarterback that I think has a lot of promise.
But being honest, he had a difficult chapter during his tenure with the Jets. He struggled and felt that he had fallen short of the expectations that came with being a top overall pick during his 3 years in New York due to bad coaching, a lack of offensive talent, and constant pressure. But he was now given a second chance. The Panthers were hoping that a change of scenery would allow Darnold, who was still young and had a strong draft pedigree, to improve his situation at quarterback. The trade was viewed as a low-risk, high-reward move for Carolina. A second chance for Darnold to prove himself without the baggage of the Jets' dysfunction weighing him down. At first, it seemed like the change might be exactly what Darnold needed. In the opening weeks of the 2021 season, he once more showed flashes of the talent that had made him a top draft pick.
Hubbard in the backfield, fake to him. A lot of room for Darnold to run, but he throws instead and into the end zone for a touchdown. Brandon Zilcha.
He demonstrated his versatility during that period by adding rushing touchdowns to back-to-back games in which he completed passes for over 300 yards. He appeared to be a quarterback who could be a reliable long-term starter for the first time in a very long time. However, those short moments of success were quickly followed by the familiar struggles that had plagued Darnold in New York. Following the encouraging beginning, his play declined, and the Panthers' offense started to struggle. He had trouble making accurate decisions, committing turnovers, and maintaining precision while the squad lost game after game. By the middle of the season, Darnold was once more a mystery. Like in New York, Carolina's offensive line was not a reliable source of protection. Under constant pressure, he would regularly rush throws or scramble to avoid sacks. The coaching situation in Carolina didn't help Darnold's case either. Even though he was only in his second season as head coach, Matt Rule had trouble establishing offensive consistency. Midway through the season, offensive coordinator Joe Brady was let go, a symptom of larger problems inside the team. Similar to what happened in New York, Darnold was put in a position where he couldn't really expect the team around him to succeed, and the pressure to perform better than he actually could increased. With time, his confidence seemed to waver as the season progressed. So, was Darnold the problem, or was he simply a victim of bad circumstances? In 2024, his career took a dramatic turn as he signed with the Minnesota Vikings. Many had written him off as a quarterback who couldn't live up to the expectations that preceded his high overall selection after he struggled with the Carolina Panthers and New York Jets. But joining the Vikings offered him a new chance to write a different story for his career. Minnesota gave him a quality roster, a solid organization, and a coach who had faith in him. The Vikings boasted a roster filled with offensive players, including one of the NFL's best wide receivers, Justin Jefferson. He finally had a consistent target to rely on after Justin Jefferson's ability to stretch the field, make tough receptions, and create separation, something he had not had in his previous stops. In addition, Jordan Addison, a rookie wide receiver, proved to be another important player for the Vikings offense. He added complexity to the game and complemented Jefferson. Suddenly, he had alternatives that opened up the field and made it simpler for him to find success through the air thanks to two explosive receivers.
Darnold again with time, into the end zone, caught, touchdown!
A key figure in his revival, though, has been head coach Kevin O'Connell. Known for his offensive tactics, O'Connell made it apparent right on that he had faith in Darnold to manage the offense. Compared to the instability and frequent shifts Darnold had known in the past, this trust was different. In addition to calling plays, O'Connell's strategy focused on identifying Darnold's advantages and placing him in advantageous circumstances. He adjusted the offense to Darnold's skill set rather than putting him in a predetermined scheme, which freed him up to play more freely and make use of his mobility and fast throw ability. The impact of O'Connell's coaching on Darnold's performance became evident early in the 2024 season. This is where he flourished because the offense was designed to play to his strengths, and he achieved some of his finest results today. His completion rate in the first several games was roughly 68.9%, with 11 touchdown passes and only 3 interceptions. These were significant improvements over his stats from previous seasons, and it was clear that the system in Minnesota was finally allowing him to play to his full potential. O'Connell's trust in Darnold also gave him the confidence to take calculated risks without fear of being benched after a mistake, which had often been the case in his earlier years. Undeniably, he has been given the second shot he sorely needed in Minnesota. He has been able to play some of the finest football of his career because of a solid offensive line, a good team, and the belief of a head coach. His NFL career is clearly far from finished, even with plenty of games left in the season, and the Vikings have given him the opportunity to write a new chapter in it. That's all. Now have a look at this video on the scary truth about Jayden Daniels no one is talking about.